It's another day under the South Texas sun, and SpaceX's Starbase is roaring back to life. The dust from Flight 9 has barely settled, and already the landscape is shifting again. Metal gleaming under the sky, machinery humming like a hive on fire, and giant stainless steel vehicles moving as if the future itself were crawling off the assembly line. You can feel it. The pace is picking up. The world's most powerful rocket is marching toward its 10th test flight, and the countdown may be shorter than anyone expected. For weeks? It almost feels impossible, but then again, impossibility has never been much of an obstacle for SpaceX. So what's going on with the remaining Block 2 Starship prototypes? What's moving, what's cooling down, and what's heating up? And yes, just in case you were wondering, we will get to Venus and its curious cosmic complexion. But first, let's look at the very heartbeat of the Starship program. Mega Bay 2 is bustling once again. Following Ship 37's departure to Massey's for cryoproof testing, Ship 38 was shifted into the central bay position and completed stacking with the addition of its aft section. Fully integrated now, it stands as another massive silhouette inside the sprawling facility, waiting for its moment to step into the open air. Now, one might expect that Ship 36 would logically follow Ship 35 in the launch sequence, but logic and reality don't always sync up at Starbase. Ship 36 actually completed its cryoproof testing back on April 27 and has since been rolled back to Mega Bay 2. It's a waiting game again, watching and wondering whether Ship 36 or 38 will make the next leap forward. The sequencing feels like a puzzle with pieces constantly being reshuffled. And then there's the question of Raptor engine deliveries, which offer vital clues to which ship gets to roar skyward next. Out at Massey's, the activity has been just as intense. Ship 37, likely a candidate for Flight 11, has successfully undergone cryogenic testing for both of its tanks as of May 30th. But the vehicle itself is a strange sight. Large patches of heat tiles missing, no aerodynamic flaps, and an unfinished look that makes it resemble a giant steel insect wandering drunkenly through a landscape it doesn't recognize. It's oddly vulnerable for something destined to pierce the edge of space. Beside it, Booster 18.1 also made headlines with its own cryoproof test on May 28. What makes this booster particularly noteworthy? It's our first real glimpse at a Block 3 test article. Unlike anything that's flown before, Booster 18.1 is a strange evolution of everything that came before it. Gone is the standard engine layout. Here, the Raptor engines are shifted further inward, clustered more tightly around the center. There's no thrust puck underneath, and in place of traditional ceramic tiles, there's a metallic heat shield glinting in the sun. These changes aren't just cosmetic. They're foundational, indicating a design philosophy pushing toward a more efficient, more durable, and more cost-effective rocket. And with these upgrades comes the promise of performance SpaceX has only dreamed of until now. We also caught a glimpse of the future in the most recent Starbase Mars update, which offered the clearest renders yet of what the next-generation Super Heavy booster might look like. Our own animator Elliot has turned these concepts into beautiful motion, hypnotic re-entry sequences that hint at the chaos and control of a booster screaming back through the atmosphere at hypersonic speed. It's one thing to hear Elon Musk describe it. It's another to see it come alive. And that's not all. A short but revealing conversation between Musk and everyday astronaut during a Starship update gave us an unexpected peek into the nose cone and ring barrel assembly areas inside the Star Factory. From different angles we could make out components for Ships 39 and 40, and possibly even Ship 41. Behind them? Perhaps even Ship 42 or 43, tucked like secrets in the shadows. Not just that, deeper inside the facility, entire new ring sections are taking shape. These aren't just leftovers. These are fresh pieces of hardware, quite possibly destined for early Block 3 ships or boosters, long before the massive Giga Bay is ready to take on full-scale production. Late one Tuesday night, Booster 16 was lifted onto its transport stand inside Mega Bay 1. A scheduled road closure hinted at what was next. From 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., the route to Massey's was blocked off. Booster 16 had already completed 2 cryogenic tests earlier this year. Now it was time for the next phase. Meanwhile, Ship 37 made its return from Massey's to Mega Bay 2, just as a City of Starbase beach closure alert predicted. The beach was blocked off from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with a backup day listed. Just another small piece of a giant logistical puzzle, all aligned for the next leap into the sky. Flight 10 is no longer a distant dream. It's becoming a logistical reality. Teams are moving fast, stacking, testing, rotating hardware through the bay like clockwork. And if everything continues at this rate, 4 weeks to launch might not be a fantasy. It might just be a carefully choreographed reality. And speaking of speed, today's sponsor is all about keeping you safe while you move fast online. We spend more time connected than ever. Whether you're at home, on your phone, or sharing a network with your kids or parents, digital threats are lurking. Surfshark is the cybersecurity partner you need. It's a powerful VPN that wraps your connection in encryption, keeping intruders out. But it doesn't stop there. Surfshark One includes antivirus tools, proxy email services, real-time alerts, and the ability to wipe the digital slate clean if your data gets compromised. With just one license, your whole family gets protected, on every device. Go to surfshark.com/Felix or use code Felix to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. The link's in the description and pinned comment. Surfshark, your data, your rules. Now back to the stars. In a twist that shocked the spaceflight community, Jared Isaacman's nomination to head NASA has officially been withdrawn, just days before a likely Senate confirmation. What was once just a rumor is now fact. It wasn't because of a lack of credentials. Isaacman has flown missions, funded technology programs, and championed innovation across commercial space. But inside pressure from the administration, quiet and persistent, ultimately derailed the process. Political concerns won out over technical vision. It's a hard pill to swallow. There were hopes, real hopes, that Isaacman might be the kind of transformational figure NASA needs. But the whispers of Elon Musk's guy were apparently too loud. Had he been confirmed, he likely would have faced an uphill battle at every turn. And now we're left with an empty chair and a handful of rumored successors. Among them, Lieutenant General Stephen Quast, a former Air Force commander whose views on space as a national security asset would mark a major shift for NASA, away from exploration and toward defense. It's a direction that worries many, and not without reason. Isaacman represented something rare, a mix of technical brilliance, business acumen, and genuine passion for exploration. Losing him feels like a step back, a slowing of momentum just when it was needed most. But here's the truth, NASA doesn't rise and fall on the fate of one nominee. The Raptor engines still fire. Starship still climbs. And the mission to reach beyond Earth? That mission is bigger than any one man. That's why I read your comments, because this community is filled with people who care deeply about what happens next. Some were disheartened, others confused. But what I saw again and again was this passion. And that passion, that's what fuels everything we do at What About It. So if you're watching this, if you've been with us for a while but haven't yet subscribed, this is your moment. Over 4 million people return here every month without hitting that button. Do us a favor, make it official. Subscribe. Like this video. And if you want to go even deeper, become a channel member. Get access to exclusive content, weekly picture galleries, satellite imagery, ground photos, animations, and live chats. You're already part of the team. Now's the time to get even more involved. Let's make spaceflight history together. And speaking of history, SpaceX wants to go to Mars. So, the next 18 months could define the decade. They want to send 5 ships to the Red Planet within 2 years. That means every system, every site, every rocket, every flame trench has to be operational. Infrastructure can't just look futuristic. It has to function flawlessly. Right now, Pad 39A in Florida is a critical hub. But Pad B at Starbase is quickly catching up. Ground broke in 2023, and by early 2025, they had already installed a custom steel flame diverter, reinforcing the trench beneath with rebar and concrete. Tower 2 is fully stacked now, built with slightly shorter chopsticks than Tower 1. Every bolt, every beam signals one thing: readiness. They aren't just preparing to launch. They're preparing to launch often. And just like that, motion testing is already underway. The orbital launch mount has been placed and is now being seamlessly integrated with the trench structure, as engineers continue working on the QD arms and the complex array of plumbing that will connect the systems. Think about that for a moment. SpaceX has taken what was just bare dirt a year and a half ago and turned it into a nearly finished orbital pad. 18 months to go from zero to launch ready. That's now the benchmark. Because down in Florida, what SpaceX is building has to reach the same finish line, and it needs to get there just as fast. Maybe even faster. The clock is ticking and the countdown to history is on. At Launch Complex 39A, the Starship integration tower already looms over the site like a skeletal monument to future missions. It was completed back in 2022, and the catch arms, those enormous steel jaws designed to grab returning boosters mid-air, were added not long after. But beyond that towering structure, progress has been far slower. Why? Because SpaceX reimagined the entire pad. After real-world data revealed that their original circular launch stool wasn't viable, The whole architecture had to change. That meant tearing up previous assumptions and starting fresh. Today the flame trench has been dug out, but the enormous concrete shell and the crucial flame diverter that will channel away Starship's fury are still incomplete. The new orbital launch mount is under construction off-site at Roberts Road, but it hasn't arrived yet. The tank farm, which must hold superchilled methane and liquid oxygen, is being overhauled to handle the new fuels, but plumbing work remains unfinished. The buried commodities trench that ties it all together is still awaiting connection. So what does that timeline really look like? If SpaceX wants this pad online in time for regular Starship launches, then every step ahead must unfold with precision and with speed. But we can estimate the duration of each stage by looking back at Starbase Pad B, where similar systems were recently completed. First up, the flame trench needs its diverter installed. Once it's delivered to the site, it has to be carefully lowered into position, anchored, and validated with multiple inspections. That process alone could take between 2 to 3 months, depending on weather conditions and safety approvals. Next comes the orbital launch mount. Once it arrives from Roberts Road, it must be hoisted onto the pad, welded into place and integrated with the quick disconnect arms and the broader pad plumbing system. That effort could add another 3 to 4 months to the schedule. Then we move on to the tank farm. SpaceX needs to install horizontal LOX tanks, methane storage systems, vaporizers and high-pressure nitrogen lines. All of these must be interconnected, flow-tested, and chilled under cryogenic conditions. And of course, extensive safety checks follow. If all goes smoothly, that might take 4 to 6 months. And then comes the critical phase, integrated pad testing. This is where things get real. Full wet dress rehearsals, static fires of both booster and ship, control system validation and emergency drill simulations will be run repeatedly. This final gauntlet could take an additional 2 to 3 months. But here's the good news, some of these steps can run in parallel. If everything aligns perfectly and the team keeps pace, LC-39A could be ready by late 2025. More likely we're looking at early spring of 2026. That's the optimistic path. But physical hardware isn't the only hurdle. SpaceX still needs a launch license. The FAA's environmental review is ongoing, and the final environmental impact statement isn't expected until the end of 2025. Only after that can the actual license be granted. And if that gets delayed, by even a few months, it could push the entire schedule back further. It's going to be close. Very close. But Pad B at Starbase proved what SpaceX is capable of when everything clicks. They iterate fast. They learn fast. And when it's go time, they're ready. Florida is next. And it's not just one tower anymore. Yes, construction hints have already revealed the first components of a second Starship pad taking shape at LC-39A. Imagine that, 2 Starship towers side by side in Florida by 2026, roaring into space. That's not just ambition. That's the plan. And it's happening fast. But before Starship can go to the Moon or Mars or anywhere else, it needs launch pads. And right now there's no time to waste. So what about the next launch? Starship Flight 10 is lining up right now. Ship 36 is almost ready for static fire testing, and Booster 16 is nearing the same milestone. Neither of these steps should cause major delays. With static fires expected to wrap up in the next few weeks, we're likely looking at a window of about 4 weeks from now. Pad A at Starbase will be fully reset and launch ready in just a few days. So based on current progress, our best estimate for Starship Flight 10 is June 25th. That lines up almost exactly with Elon Musk's projection of 3 to 5 weeks after Flight 9. And just as we were wrapping up this update, Booster 16 was hoisted onto Pad A, confirming that static fire prep is officially underway. SpaceX wasn't exaggerating when they said they're pushing for a launch cadence of 4 to 6 weeks. It's happening. The cadence is real. Go Starbase. And in community news, WAI Media is hiring again. Our fantastic assistant Carrie will soon be heading off to new adventures, and that means we're on the lookout for someone who's just as sharp, reliable, and passionate to take over the role. If you're hyper-organized, good with systems like QuickBooks, and you've got a knack for keeping financials tight and tidy, we'd love to have you. You'll handle payroll, U.S. tax documents, and be the backbone of what keeps our small but mighty team running. If you're great with numbers and love structure, hit the link in the description, fill out the form, and maybe you'll be the next one helping us bring space news to the world. Now let's talk about something wild. Even NASA's clean rooms, the most sterile environments on Earth, can't escape the reach of life. These are the sealed laboratories where spacecraft are meticulously assembled. Every surface is scrubbed, every particle tracked, every tool sterilized to prevent any contamination. And yet, scientists recently discovered 26 new species of microbes inside the very clean rooms used to prepare the Phoenix Mars lander. These aren't ordinary bacteria. These are extremophiles, microorganisms that thrive in environments so hostile they would kill most life instantly. We're talking volcanic vents, polar ice, acid drainage pools. And apparently, NASA's clean rooms. Some of these new species are radiation-resistant, spore-forming, and capable of surviving on almost nothing. Ultra-hardy survivors that seem tailor-made to outlast even the harshest space conditions. At first glance, it sounds like a quirky science story. But this discovery has deep implications. Every time we send a spacecraft to another world, there's a risk, however small, that Earth-based microbes might hitch a ride. And if something like this made it to Mars or Europa, it could not only contaminate those environments but also confuse future life detection efforts. Did we discover alien life? Or just a piece of our own biology? The researchers emphasize this doesn't mean NASA's sterilization protocols failed. In fact, the discovery proves how rare and extreme these organisms are. But it also shows how persistent life can be, and how seriously we must take the challenge of planetary protection. Especially now, with missions like the Mars sample return on the horizon. Perseverance has already collected samples and soon they could be headed back to Earth. We better hope it washes its robotic hands. Europa Clipper is another mission diving deep into this question, bound for Jupiter's icy moon, believed to harbor a subsurface ocean. If extremophiles can survive clean rooms, could they survive long enough to make it to Europa's ocean? That's why understanding these organisms isn't just a biological curiosity, it's critical science. The more we learn about what survives sterilization, the better we can protect other worlds. And the better we understand how life might exist in alien environments. Speaking of alien worlds, let's turn to Venus. For decades, scientists thought the planet's surface was geologically dead, an ancient crust cooked into silence by heat and pressure. But a new study has revealed something extraordinary. Venus may still be geologically active. Researchers analyzed massive structures known as coronae, circular formations hundreds of kilometers wide, created when hot material rises from deep inside the planet. When they looked closely at 75 of these coronae, they found that 52 showed signs of active deformation. That means faults that look fresh, cracks that haven't been eroded, surfaces that haven't been buried by dust or debris. This is some of the strongest evidence yet that Venus is still changing, still shifting, still alive beneath the surface. If true, this brings Venus even closer to Earth in terms of geologic activity. It has a dynamic mantle, maybe even volcanic eruptions. And it may help explain why Venus became a furnace while Earth remained habitable. Before Earth's tectonic plates started drifting continents, it might have looked more like Venus, deformed by rising heat instead of shifting slabs. That makes Venus a time capsule of our own planet's ancient past. NASA's upcoming Veritas mission will scan Venus from orbit, mapping the surface and searching for signs of volcanic or tectonic change. And ESA's Envision will complement it, using radar and spectrometers to dig deep into the planet's atmosphere and crust. If Venus is truly active, we might even catch it in the act. That's it for today's update. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. This fuels the algorithm and helps us keep bringing you awesome space content for free. Check out our new Raptor engine and Flight 9 t-shirts, now available at the Space Nerd store. Or grab a gorgeous print from our shop to hang on your wall. Every purchase supports Jordan, our incredible photographer. And if you want to dive even deeper, watch our video on SpaceX's Raptor engine next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.